Welcome back, guys. This is about the fourth time I've tried to do this video because I keep getting notifications from Chrome, from Facebook, and I don't want that in my videos. So, I think I've got that disabled, finally, for the third time. Hopefully it works this time. Alright, what we're going to be doing in this video is talking about fonts, which is the way that letters look on your web page. So what I mean by that is there's a few different properties that we can set for fonts, and we've already set two of them. We've set font family and font weight, and the font family we set in the body element, which means every element under this body element is going to be using this font if it can. And if it can't use Roboto Condensed, which we imported in one of the earlier videos, then it moves on down this list to load up sans serif, which is it's a very basic font. It's always going to load. So if for any reason Roboto Condensed doesn't load, like let's say I screw up the URL, that one's going to load. Sans serif. So let me undo that right there. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk more about importing fonts. So what I'm going to do is go over to fonts.google.com, and there's a really neat font that I want to use just for the title. So I'm going to, you hit the plus sign here by the title. I've already got it loaded in here. You're going to customize it, load whatever you want. In this case, the font that I'm using only has one weight, and that's 400 or regular, so that's fine. I'm going to go ahead to the import tab and then copy this URL here. It seems like a lot of steps, but it's not. Now what I'm going to do, I'm pretty sure that first title, that's an H1 element. And it is. So we're going to go ahead and give this the ID of site title. Jump back over here and go site title. And then we're going to use that press start font. So font dash family, this is the actual font, it's going to be press start 2p or sans serif. Save this and refresh, and now you'll see the title of my site uses a different font than every other element on the page. So that's this is specificity here essentially. This is not I mean, this just specifies, like, at a very low level, the general font that everything should use, unless something is a bit more specific. And using an ID rather than, the inherited elements style definitely is more specific. And so that's how you set a font family. It's always going to be the first item in that list is going to be the font that you want to use, and the second item is always going to be sans serif. Am I actually recording this? Is this recording? All right. Generally down here in the right-hand corner, I see a little volume indicator that shows me that I'm being recorded, and I just didn't see that. So I wanted to make sure. All right, so that's how you do font family. You can set font weight, but we've already learned what that means. Basically, the weight of the font is how thick it is. As you can imagine, apply an imaginary weight to a font, and the more weight you have, the bigger it becomes. So that's fairly straightforward, and the values can either be a 3-digit number, for instance 200, 300, 400, 500, etc. And some fonts don't have all those. So if I load in Roboto here and go to customize this, this has these weights. So 100, 300, 400, 500, 700, and 900. There are also 600 and 800, but they are not used in this font. So I'm also going to include the italic versions of each one of these weights. And as you can see, it's just modified this URL for the import. So I'm just going to copy that URL here, the first one, just so we can have access to all those weights. And what I'm going to do with that, now we have the italicized version of each one of those weights. So we're going to start making things italic. And this read more link, for instance, we're going to make that italic. So let me just have a look at our actual source. And the read more link is just in article P and then A. So I'm going to target it like that. Actually, you know what? We don't even have to do that. What I'm going to do is add a class to each A element. And a class kind of works like an ID. It's going to be the class more link. And I'm going to put it in each one here. The only difference is with an ID, only one element can have the ID, but a class, any number of elements can have the class name. And also you can have multiple class names. So with an ID, you can't space separate, different IDs to apply to it. It only gets one. But with a class, you use a class list separated by a space. So if I wanted this to have more link class as well as bolded link, let's say, I'm going to save that. So you can add multiple classes just by separating them with a space as a property inside the element. And that's just going to affect the insides of this element itself. So the first thing we need to style is the more link and make it italic. And how we do that is in here, actually, we did talk about classes a bit because this is how you target a class. You just use a period and then the class name. So in this case, it's more-link. And we're going to say font style. And this is going to be italic, just like that. I'm going to save it and then refresh. And now we see that our read more link here is italic. But our font here, the weight changed, I believe, in the P. So let's set font weight 300. Did we get that? Hold on one sec. Font weight 300 important. All right, we may have screwed up this right here because we're no longer getting the 300 font weight for Roboto condensed. Something's terribly wrong, so let's troubleshoot this here. Save, refresh. No, that did not fix it. Let's go up, see. Okay, so we do have those. We don't have anything under 500. So 500 is the first one we have. And I'm not sure why. Let's remove 100 and 100i because we're not using those. And 400. There. Save this. Refresh this. Now let's add in font weight 300. Important. Font style normal. No. That is really, really strange. Remove these right here. Did that just get thin? No, I don't think it did. Let's remove the italic version of that weight. And, I mean, that doesn't look like 300 to me. No, it's totally 500. All right. I think that happened when I set the font style to italic. So let's save and refresh. No, something happened there. Oh, yeah, I did screw up that link. All right. Wow. Okay. So the problem was that this was incorrect. So Roboto condensed is what I want. And now I've got 300, 300 italic, 500, and 500 italic. I'm going to save this and refresh, and there we've got our font back. But we removed that italic in troubleshooting. So let's go ahead and add font style italic. Save this, refresh, and there we go. That looks a lot better. I'm really not sure how that happened there. I was way down here typing and it screwed it up there. You guys may have seen that actually happen, which I completely didn't. So there we go. So we've set the font style to italic for all more links. And what you'll notice is even that third one got changed, even though it has more link, bolded link. And that's because this class does apply to this. Or rather, not to the bolded link class, but to the element itself, because each class is used to style it. So it gets the styles from this, and then also the styles from this, etc., etc. And this is a way to improve specificity as well. Let's say I had, let's make this bolded link so you guys can see what's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and style the bolded link, and I'm going to make it actually 900. So I need to re-import the 900 and 900i for italic. And here's what we're going to do. The read more link is italicized. The bolded link is going to be with a font weight of 900. So let's go ahead, bolded link, font weight 900. I'm going to save this and refresh. And what you'll notice, first off, is that the more link is italicized. The bolded link is bolded. And then the more link, bolded link is both italicized and bold. And so that's how you can combine classes to apply multiple styles to the same element. And then one more thing to finish off this video is the specificity involved in using multiple classes. So now that I've got all those done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to style both more link and bolded link. So this style, this rule is going to apply to any item that has both of these classes. So you don't separate these with a space. You just put the class names in a row, and each class name is started with a period. So what we're going to do is change the color of this to red. So color red. Save it, refresh, and now you'll see that by using multiple classes, this only applies to anything that has both of these classes, as well as, the other styles that are applied by each class also get styled. I hope that's not too confusing. We're going to be using Bootstrap, and Bootstrap is a framework that you'll really get used to this quite quickly. And that's because with Bootstrap, you use multiple classes. Basically, Bootstrap is a framework that only gives you classes to use and functions, JavaScript functions. And you use those however you want to. You combine them, you mesh them together, and you make your own website with it. And so that's what Bootstrap is. And we're going to get into that later, but this is the basic concept that you'll be using most with Bootstrap.